the holidays, the snow, the lights, the good feeling in the air. And with that, I want to bring in one of our wonderful sponsors, U.S. Bank. You have stepped up this morning. Judd Patterson, I want to welcome you in and give you a little minute to say a few words to us.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Marion. Appreciate the opportunity to speak today. We have been a sponsor for years and look forward to continuing to, sponsor your events and really support the realtor community throughout Idaho. I think it was a good timing for this webinar. Looking forward to hear Nobu speak. And, to tie in the technology aspect just a little bit, we were excited to see an article that came out from Kiplinger on November 23rd that, named U.S. Bank the best mortgage lender for ages 18 to 34. And a lot of that is, due to the technology aspect of where we've come with the, not only taking the application, trying to streamline the process to provide a great customer experience. But also, since we service our loans, after we close the loan, it's important, and we are recognized on our, app for the mortgage. You can pull your statements, you can, get the alerts for tax documents, you can play with, paying down extra on the mortgage to create more equity, or even, pay it off early. So, I think that ties in well with the our loan portal. And then just to feature a couple of products that we specialize in, in addition to conventional FHA, VA, Idaho housing, we also have some great portfolio products like our lot loan, which we can do with, as little as 20 to 25% down on 5 acres or less. We have American Dream Loan with 3% down, where we provide a second mortgage with 0 interest and 0 payment a second mortgage of up to $5,500 to help with down payment and closing costs, or possibly even some small repairs for that first-time home buyer. And then lastly, our construction to perm product. I think, a lot of you have heard of that. It's a great product out there, and we've continued, throughout 2020 to continue our jumbo product. So, keep us in mind. We appreciate the sponsorship. We have over 30 mortgage loan officers, spread out throughout Idaho. So if you have questions, reach out to myself or, any loan officer within your community, and, we'd love to help you out. That's all I have. Happy holidays, and just have a safe, healthy, successful 2021. Thank you.
Judd, thank you. That was so well done. I think it's key that we've all had to sort of shift. And for those of us who, online apps, that has made all the difference. So thank you for your service to our clients. And we just appreciate you being here and being a supporter of Idaho Realtors. It means the world to us. So thank you. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, without further ado, we have a full house today, and I am so thrilled to welcome in our next guest. I think, as I'm reading over some of his resume, I think that I have been in the audience and listened to Nobu, when he's talking about just real estate. He's got a background from 1996, I believe, talking about tech, talking about what's coming, talking about how we are prepared or aren't. It has impacted my business and the way that I go about it. And for those of you who haven't heard, which I can't believe there's anybody here that hasn't heard Nobu yet, you're in for a super, super good treat. It's just fantastic that you're here. Nobu is now the CEO of the Denver Metro Association of Realtors, which Nobu, as I invite you in, kind of tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about your journey, and then I'm just going to turn the time over because I know there's some excited realtors to hear what you have to say today.
Yeah, well, it's good to be back in Idaho again, even though randomly Abby Parsons from Washington is here. Hi, Abby.
Oh yeah, people are gonna sneak in.
But yeah, it's good to be back. Right before all this COVID mess started, I'm one of those like if it was meant to be, I got to act on it kind of thing. And for whatever reason, last year I was in the Denver area and Colorado a dozen times, 6 times in Denver in June alone last year. I love it here. I grew up in Alaska. I don't know if most of you guys know that. So this reminds me of home. My wife visited during my last trips, and it was one of those things where like, hey, if something ever happened here, maybe we'd do it. Chicago is kind of a mess. NAR can only do so much. And I frankly, I got kind of tired of just talking and covering for an organization that is still kind of evolving, right? And anytime I can get closer to the street, it was going to be more fun to me. I left NAR in January. Had a bunch of offers, but I picked the Denver metro area just because I see the opportunity here in the region, not only in the state and in the metro, while also kind of being in a position to help. I want to help to really change what associations are going forward, because I think we're on the precipice of some really massive change in this industry.
Yes. Yeah, we sure are. And Nobu, I think when I sit in the audience, I like your real talk. Like you're just straightforward and you're coming from a realtor's heart. But I really get that you love this industry and that you realize the impact we can have on consumers. Homes are our sanctuaries, and then it goes from there. So as you now take over this morning and give us your presentation, really, how did you come to that? Did you always have kind of a servant's heart for realtors, and that important part of you that just speaks real to us, that we go, oh my gosh, I didn't think of it that way? How did you come about? Have you always been that way?
I think in general, I just don't have a lot of penchant or patience for BS. Katrina laughs because she knows that we've tried together, Phil does too. I think the big thing is I from the leadership point of view, where I got recruited and then working at NAR, I think it was more of if you want to change, I'm right there with you. We're at this point in this industry where we can no longer have things that have been dogging us for 100 years continue to dog us now. We gotta address them, move on, and start shaping the course of this industry. Mostly, I'm unemployable outside of this business. I'm unemployable. I can, going over Brazillo is easy, but I love this business. I love doing it. This is one of the few businesses I know of that the better and more you help people, the more profitable you are. There's no other industries that are like that. And on top of that too, since some of you guys know I have a kid, Abby, I don't know you have this, I know this or not, but my kid has got the realtor laugh already. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, he's ready to belt out things like, historical low interest rates, no inventory. What can I do to get into this home? And he's literally 5 minutes from doing that. But I want to have an industry for him too, because my wife, he used to take, my wife used to take him to her second showings for people who needed vision on a home. And he was doing things like, oh, this is where I would put my bed. This is where I mean, he was working it. His nickname is the closer. And I want to make sure he has something to close on as he gets older. So it's going to be good. I love it.
So for those of us who do follow Nobu and his family on Facebook, some of the things you put on there are hilarious. And I think he does have a huge future in our industry.
Hope so.
Yeah. So as you are, you've transitioned from, working for the largest trade organization in the world to, to now working for a pretty large association on a local level, the Denver Metro. How many realtor members do you serve there?
This Denver metro area, another reason why I picked it was not only the membership size. We got about 7,000 members and about another 800-900 kind of ancillary members and secondary members here. It's the biggest local, but it's also right smack in the middle of all the changes happening in this business. So I have non-realtors here. So I've folks because we have an MLS that is realtor owned, but doesn't require, it's not a Thompson state, but it still doesn't require realtor membership, which is weird. But then I also got Zillow here buying up houses. I got Redfin buying houses here who are realtor members. Zillow actually now, they picked us when they turned into a realtor brokerage because I wouldn't give them grief. It wasn't the word that they used, but Arrow was like, we won't give our people crap, right?
Yeah.
Zillow is now a realtor with us as of last month, and I've got all the change happening. One of the non-realtor brokers here testified before the Department of Justice last year. So everything about change that's happening in this industry is happening right here, which I love. But it's a big membership. It's one that is still really reeling with the fact that it's almost like what Idaho is feeling, right? You've got so many people buying up houses here who aren't from here.
Absolutely.
And it's causing this massive change in this business where you've got folks coming in who are expecting one thing and getting something else from the real estate professionals. So, this is a perfect storm of change that's happening here.
The perfect storm of change. Boy, howdy. If that doesn't describe 2020, I don't know what does. That's fantastic. So what is on your mind and heart this morning for Idaho Realtors, Nobu? What is kind of the biggest message you have for us?
Yeah, I think we need to start putting to bed all the things that have dogged us. We are a pretty self-loathing industry in general. Everything about us is like, all this change, they're picking on it. That garbage needs to stop. If there's one thing that COVID did, and we should be thankful for, is that it magnified a lot of the things that benefited us, that showed us what we shouldn't be doing, that magnified issues societally in our markets that we need to start embracing and running with, right?
Right.
So, in my mind, I have seen more change in the last 5 years in this business than the previous, 25, 30 years that I've been in it. I think the next 5 is going to make all that pale in comparison, because not only do you have industry change, but you've got regulatory change, and you've got societal issues that are now up front in everybody's faces. And we have to start thinking less about what's in front of us and start acting more on what we want the industry, community, our markets to be going forward, and to take a much more active approach in that rather than being a result of the change, which has been, even right now, the thing that is happening the most.
So what you're saying is we've kind of been behind the curve, and we need to, of course, be out in front of it. What do you think, what is one of the biggest, or maybe the top 5 biggest changes that you see coming down the pipe that we should be embracing and part of?
Yeah, the big one to me is transparency. As you guys know, some of you guys know, I've been talking about it for years, right? How we need to be a lot more transparent about not only how we operate, but demystifying what we do. That decision's been made for us now. Here in the Denver metro area and many other markets, when the calendar turns, commissions are going to be broadcasted on our public-facing MLS site. Zillow will be following suit, from what I've heard. And as probably Abby can second this, in the state of Washington, where this has already been happening, brokerages were broadcasting it. Now, did the end of the world happen? No, right? Especially in Washington, where this was huge. But in markets like yours, where you've got this, we're non-disclosure. I've now heard this 3 times from friends of mine in the Idaho area. That doesn't mean anything to consumers who are moving in droves to your market.
Sure.
The expectations now are far exceeding what it is that we are offering people. And not commission side alone, which by the way, no one gives two hoots about what you're making. They don't care, right? What they care about is what they're paying for, right? So when you think about that, it opens up the door to everything else that's out there. Stop worrying about non-disclosure states and what you guys are, but start thinking about what else you can add to the conversation to show more value, because that's a huge one. I think the next big one to me is CoStar. I think CoStar, it really hinges on what they do with CoreLogic. But if they buy the number one MLS provider in the country, that says a lot about what they plan to do. Now,
so maybe Nobu, kind of expand on CoStar for those who are just here for the first time and hearing back.
Yeah, so what CoStar is, so anybody in the commercial real estate realm can second this. CoStar has been a verb in the commercial real estate space for, I don't know, 10, 15 years. They own a portal. They bought another portal. They went toe to toe with NAR a couple of years ago and won. What CoStar is a commercial real estate monolith. I mean, they're a legit $35 billion company. But what has happened with commercial real estate just in the last 6 months? It's cratered, right? So it made a lot of sense for those guys to jump into the real estate, residential real estate sphere. So they bought up HomeSnap, which, everything I read and everything I've talked to when it comes to some of the consultants that are advising HomeSnap is that they're going to keep the relationship for sure with the major brokers, right? Which is pretty huge. So, it depends on what they do, but bottom line is that they are a revenue-driven company. Have they improved their products with their revenue? No. But what they have done is acquired other companies. So that's something to watch out for. They've monetized the hell out of monopoly. They have monopoly. They do. And they monetize the hell out of it. Will they do the same thing in the residential real estate space? I think long-term is something that from my point of view as an association guy going forward, we've been talking about for years about the MLS being a marketplace. And what I have to actually think about as an association dude with 7,000 members who every day think about value about what we bring is the fact that what CoStar can do if they were to buy up CoreLogic, which it sounds like they're going to do, they can create another marketplace. So you as leaders, right, need to think about the fact that we need to amp up our value. We need to amp up the things that you do. Make sure that you humanize it in really fundamental ways. But we are in a post-Zillow world. Zillow is now a broker. Zillow is now a realtor. We gotta get beyond that. It's the next company that comes in, and that next company is that 800-pound gorilla in the room right now.
Well, this is what I love about you, Nobu, is that you seem to have a bit of a crystal ball. I don't know where you keep it. I'm looking at your office. I don't see a crystal ball anywhere. But you have for years been calling these things. And so an MLS as a marketplace, can you expand on what that looks like to you?
Yeah, and that's something that the legal team at NAR, I was part of being in the NAR legal team for the last 3 years of my time there at NAR, was something that was talked about a lot. I think that it was kind of maybe a conversation that they should have thought more about. I brought up a couple of things, like when you start thinking about marketplace and business, now you got to be a lot more value to the members and subscribers that are there. Sure. But in general, the term marketplace is a term that the legal team is fighting to ensure that consumers who are using realtors to put their houses on the market are putting their houses out there in the marketplace so that they get the best bang for their buck, they get the best dollar for their equity that they've earned, things like that. But when you start talking about marketplace, now you're opening the door to competitors. And that's what's happening right now, right? And I just bought an entity that's got every major brokerage attached to it. I had to amp that up. And I think that at the state local level, we really need to be the ones to step up. And as leaders, think less about leading in your 9 months that you really have and start thinking more about the next 5 years, how we're going to act upon that as leaders in the markets, especially that we're in right now, where people are gravitating to.
Absolutely. So on this Zoom meeting today, Nobu, you've got realtors, all of us in the trenches every day. You've got realtors who are here at this Zoom meeting, Wednesday webinar, perhaps for the first time. I am looking at, we've got state leaders. We have our president-elect Cindy Hunter and leadership from local to state. Would you say that is the biggest thing, or, as leaders in our own companies, and then also association level, what are the things we should be watching for?
Yeah, and this is something that I've actually talked to my leadership team about here, both locally, and a lot of them are at the state level and regional level as well. I'm really starting to ask the big questions. Is what do you want our market to look like and function like in 5 years and 10 years? Do we have the capabilities to start executing upon that now? And I'll tell you, most people I talk to just say no when they really realize it, right? So it goes beyond the folks who are here and involved with this.
Yeah.
We got to get beyond the cliques in leadership. Who are the next generation leaders? Who are they? Where are they now? What are their makeups? What do we suck at as a leadership group? I think that's
what do we suck at? That's the question of the day.
And it's okay to address that, because we really do need to address this stuff. We suck at a lot of things. I mean, what has been the biggest issue is that no one outside of this Zoom meeting knows anything about the value of their membership, right?
Sure.
And I'll tell you, something that I fully agree with Bob Goldberg about when I was at NAR was the fact that there's a lot more apathetic people about the association. We worry about those folks that call us up and say, I'm not paying dues here for all 3 levels of $600, right? Mm-hmm. We get held hostage by folks who complain about that, where they're going to complain about everything. We have to more worry about the fact that there are people, Abby, when I was in Spokane with you a couple of years ago, we talked about it. Like how many of your agents could not care less about what they're paying? They're just like, they just see it, they just write their check and then they go.
Yeah.
Those people who aren't in the room need to be invited in the room now. But I'll tell you, leadership in the Zoom era really will change the way we interact and engage, because we really need to be upfront and more truthful and in your face about what value actually means today and tomorrow.
Love that. So when you ask that question to your local leaders, what do you want to, what do you want this to look like in 5 years? Can you give us some of their answers?
Yeah, I think the big one was acting upon what we're already seeing now, and this is the societal issues, the diversity element, the equality element, and the inclusion element. I'm also in Colorado, where it's not the most diverse market ever, and this is not me talking to my state counterparts. We're mandated to do a lot of things on this end, but there are not just a lot of diversity here. And to me, I'm like, okay, let's work on the inclusivity part. Because I think if we're inclusive, not only internally with our with leadership, with membership, with points of view, the D and the E part will actually come.
Sure.
Right? Because we're here, recently at the state level here, Colorado, the board voted to allow YPN to be a voting member of the board. One member from the state YPN to be a member of the board. And it was a 45-minute freaking conversation that ended up like we normally ended up. It's like they're going to do it anyways. But it's like, it's the same thing with like Charlie Oppler's apology. Like, welcome to 2010, guys. 2010. 10 years ago.
Oh, Nobu.
Right? So
nobody says it like you do, mister.
Well, I told Charlie that too, so that I can say that. But it's like, what are we gonna do now for the next 10 years? Mm-hmm. Let's be inclusive, right? So that we can set the tone for the D and the E portion. Now, I think the big one too is that I'm more willing to act on the equality and equity portion on the consumer front. Because right now, what you're seeing happen is that housing affordability and accessibility is more impacted on people of color, right? And what does everybody need right now, no matter your color or place in real estate, is that everyone needs path to home ownership. And have we done that as an industry? No. Zillow has done better, guys, on educating people so that they become a verb. So if we can together deal with the inclusivity part on the internal end of things, but then help our community, give a path to them on how to save for a home, and that realtors are there to help. We've done a lot of work.
Well, that's such a powerful message. And I think that we believe that we live that every day, that realtors are literally the guide, the path to home ownership. And we know what that does for our communities. But we can do better. And so for you in Denver, for here in Idaho, what does that look like? I know that there's realtors on this, Zoom meeting that feel like, well, we're doing that every day, aren't we? How can we do better? What is, when the rubber meets the road, what can we do better?
Well, I'll tell you, overall, we really do suck about building mind share. We're not really good at that. And right now, if you think overall, folks don't realize how much they need us until they're eyeballs deep into the muck of the real estate transaction. And part of it, to me, about this whole notion of transparency is to get that information out there. One of the things that we do that no one else can as an industry, okay, is the fact that we could, if we wanted to, put 7 million people out in front of our brand and say, we help these people. Mm-hmm. Now, will NAR do that? No, because they have to worry about big broker relationships. But can we do that at the regional level? Hell yes, we can. Can we do that at the state and local level? Oh, heck yes, we can. And at the state and local level, can we team up with brokerages to get that information out there? Yes, we can. That's something that I'm doing here in Denver, is during that spring season all the way through the tail end of the closing season, is highlighting the value of a realtor and humanizing the brand. So yeah, there are different ways to do that, but we just have to start getting information out there because we're horrible at it. And it's just the way we think, frankly. We're very transactional in general, right? And I'm being generally speaking when I say it, but we think more about how Zillow works from the earning mindshare, earning business, earning and attracting followers. We'll be good at that. And I think that's where we can, as a unit, as a collaborative, really make some change. Because the beauty about doing this together is that, every transaction is going to be different. Mm-hmm. And what's awesome about it is that if you guys put out, however many houses will sell every year in the state of Idaho and in your micro markets, you can really tell people, no matter how you want to transact on your next home, we have a realtor there for you.
Love that.
No matter how high touch, high tech you want to do it, we're there for you. And for sellers, if you need an exit strategy out, I've got the network for you. That's a beautiful thing about leadership. Katrina, you go to PC, and hopefully go to Maui. How many agents have you met, right? That can help sellers get the hell out of Idaho, which is that to me is key to getting folks out and creating some inventory.
I love that.
And I think about that from the regional point of view. I'd love to, team up with you guys on that to create a regional powerhouse to create a velocity of business.
Well, you're Region 11, we're Region 12. We actually have an in with the 2021 RVP of Region 12, that Tiffany Mygansky from Pocatello. We can do something. But what I love about what you're saying, Nobu, is that on a state level, on a local level, Idaho consumers have been absolutely blessed this year during a pandemic. The real estate market here is booming. And more consumers are in homes now than ever before. And to get those testimonials, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I think that's one of the few real big advantages that as a collaborative from every level, we can put people out in front that love us, right? And I think the big one too that has really been amplified by COVID is that as a group, we have the ability to be this one-stop shop, this platform that folks have been talking about for years. What has been the eye-opening thing for me during this COVID period was that it went from 66% to 86% that consumers thought about real estate professionals as a one-stop shop, and that impacted their decision-making. Mm-hmm. So whatever you can do to make the experience for me great and fantastic, from no matter where I am in that home buy sell point of my life, the better we're going to be profitable from it.
So along those lines, I've got a question. So the question is, how do we stay competitive with these other entities to stay at the heart of the transaction, a realtor at the heart of the transaction?
Well, go on notice that right now is the biggest target, is the actual transaction. And that has never been more ripe for change. And I'll tell you, I have now bought 3 homes without being a realtor, and it sucked every time. So I feel it, man. I mean, from the mortgage end of things, the title to everything else, I felt it. Here's the thing: as COVID has already showed, people are willing to pay a premium to do the thing, to have somebody else do the things that they don't want to do. And we need to start resting our laurels on that and start marketing the fact that there will be 7 million transactions this year and X amount in Idaho, that they're going to be a unique experience for all of you. And I'm here to do that at a premium way every point of the way. And
I love that.
You got to talk about it. We have to be a lot better about talking about, at least on the transaction end of things, how much it does suck and how much human helps with that. Technology cannot get rid of that.
Well, it's interesting. Michelle Vines Bailey, hey, honey, if you're on, she's Boise Regional Realtors president for 2020. And on her Facebook, I think it was yesterday or the day before, she says, it's easy to get a property under contract, but getting it from there to closing is, that's where we earn our money. And I think you're exactly right, Nobu, that we need to talk about that more.
Well, what we've done far too long as an industry, and the best of us do this, we insulate our clients from all of these issues. But the big thing now is that our clients, every other day of their life, they're feeling the pain of all of the inefficiencies of the world. And what we've done is make it look easy to our detriment. So we can be a lot more transparent in that and actually have them become a part of it and say, hey, you know what, I've already taken care of it. We're going to be okay, because that's the part that people are willing to pay for. Now, the thing that I foresee in general, because of all the change with the DOJ, of all the change that's happening with other brokerage entities, is that there's still going to be an agent there. The big thing in my mind is that that agent's going to become a lot cheaper to use. So it's standing up for your value. It's less a conversation about travel agents. I hate that conversation. I've used a travel agent. If I want to go and take a green tour of the Amazon jungle with some hippie, there is literally a travel agent there who can help me out with that, and that person gets paid a ton of money, right? The better analogy is Uber for us. People feel forced to use a realtor. They want to get into the car of a stranger. And we need to be a lot more trustworthy than that, right? So how we build trust now starts now.
Love it. Okay, so let's switch to tech. I don't even know what questions to ask. What do you see on the horizon? What is exciting to you that can affect our industry, and then something that we need to just be rubbing our hands together and maybe finding out a little bit about?
Yeah, what you're seeing a lot of it, and I'll give NAR credit for this, when they've been saying we should get involved in tech and then turn around and invest in a technology accelerator, that just seems kind of like talking out both sides of your face. But the guys that are involved with that are really good, and they're bringing in some first-class companies who actually want to work with the industry rather than disrupt it, okay? Because your average disruptors, they don't know that they're disrupting anything. They're just trying to solve a problem. Now they're going to us for those problems. So, I love companies like Earnest with 2 N's, EARNNEST. If you ever use Venmo, that type of technology now is available for earnest money transactions. So you can actually, they've partnered up with almost 80% of the title companies in the country, and you can now, as a consumer, wire your earnest money to title companies directly through an app. Right? That stuff is incredible to me, where that folks are not that can happen, but that people are comfortable in doing it.
Sure.
Huge to me. So it's companies like that really that I love, and you're going to see a lot more of those companies that we can actually latch on to as not only as leadership, but as brokerage folks. Abby's nodding her head. She's probably heard about these folks before, but they're fantastic, especially when you're thinking about, when I was buying a home in Denver, I was in Chicago. I had to, during COVID, go to my bank to wire money, which required me to go and make an appointment during COVID.
Yes. Yeah.
I blew past my past the deadlines both times when I pulled the trigger on the houses here, right? So, anything you can do right there to think about how we can lend more efficiency to the transaction with our brand, that's huge. So it's companies like Earnest, companies like Glide, who are not only holding contracts, but they're turning it into a transaction management solution, which is going to be huge going forward as cybercrime becomes more and more of an issue, right? So it keeps transactions out of the email, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
In the transaction itself, boy, you're seeing things like Bitcoin, right? You're seeing things like that. I've already had 2 agents here ask me about Bitcoin transactions. We'll just cash it out, dude, and treat it as a cash transaction. But when you see the token exchanges of real estate happen, fractional ownership of housing, you guys are going to see the guys from Zillow and Dotloop started a company called Picasso that created a fractional ownership of second homes. It's amazing when you think about it. And they're like, it's not for these old dudes that want to sit in their second homes and become crazy. It's for millennials out there who are rich but don't want to have the expense of having a second home year round. They want to share the costs. It's like a timeshare on steroids.
On absolute steroids. Are you seeing that in Colorado?
Oh yeah, they're already here, not here in the city, but up in Aspen, right, and Vail, where you've got folks who are like, I want to have fractional ownership of home and then Airbnb it when none of us are there. It's less about home and more about an investment that they think of. It's pretty amazing stuff, which I think to me is the next thing. Airbnb just went public. I think Airbnb's entrance into real estate is an inevitability.
Okay.
I think it's an inevitability, and because they're going to need to continue to make money. So how they transact, it's like the car. I sold my realtor car before I moved to Chicago, from Chicago to here through Carvana. It was basically the same brick and mortar experience without the expense of brick and mortar, which actually led to a more profitable experience for the company and a better experience for me, right? So you'll see that type of thing. And I think that's the thing that's going to be very unique to us as real estate people and as brokerages, is that there's going to be a lot of options out there, and we should take advantage of that.
Yeah.
You got to take advantage of that stuff. Know who your clients are, know what they want, so that you can attract their friends and their family to the way you do business. There's going to be a ton of money to be made there.
I love that. You guys, we're already 40 minutes into this webinar. I want to open it up. Idaho Realtors, if you have any questions, please type those into the message portion, right? You'll find that right at the bottom of your screen for those who don't know. But if you've got a question for Nobu, this is the time to do it. So Nobu, in the next 5 years, you in Colorado, what is going to be your concentration in serving your brokers? Brokers are kind of our unsung heroes. We've got lots of new realtors here in Idaho, and we're really counting on those brokers to, teach them the business. What are some of the things that we can give our designated brokers this morning? Some tidbits.
Yeah, I think the big one is we need to, as a leadership group, be a lot more fundamentally strategic with our engagements with our brokers, and because they're all going to be very different. What Abby needs at CB is going to be very different from what independents. I have a lot of independents here. We're large independents, and they are fiercely independent. They don't want any help, and really having fundamental conversations with them and getting an idea of what we all need collectively and collaboratively as a group. The big thing is, we as an association leadership group are really apprehensive to talk to our brokers about products. But, and the thing is, I talk to them every day, and I'm like, you and I both know that it's not about the product, it's the buy-in. That you spent money and I spent money and no one's using it. And I think that's the biggest problem.
Totally.
So really kind of figuring out what's not working, how we can work together to ensure buy-in as Zillow becomes, I think Zillow pivoting to an EXP type model is also an inevitability as well. So, and you already have top agents, top teams that are using their services for that because they are getting business from it. So, it's how can we figure that out together as a group with the other brokerages that are out there? And then collectively, to me, we need to start re-envisioning who we are attracting into this business, period. We gotta talk to our trainers, we gotta talk to everybody and say, we gotta stop with these people who are fogging up the mirror and start thinking about qualitative versus quantitative metrics, right? Because if we can get the next generation realtor to be more profitable and productive with our services that we're providing together as a group, we're going to be all better for it.
I agree with that.
I'd rather have more Abby's there. Abby can do whatever she wants. Abby, I'm picking on you because you're like literally right there. But it's like Abby had her choice to go and do a whole bunch of things, but she's choosing to lead at her brokerage. We need more people like that could take professionalism to the next level. That can take productivity.
Sorry, Nobu, I didn't mean to interrupt. We've got a couple questions when you're ready.
Yeah, shoot.
So we've got Jim from Boise. Your thoughts on having a license differentiate between commercial and residential agents or realtors? So what do you think?
Well, I everybody wants to be treated like their own special snowflake, and we got to stop that. Be one thing. I'm here at the Denver Tech Center, right? So it's a cluster of about 5-10 buildings here that is specifically catered to companies trying to escape the Silicon Valley area and come here. They here are 95% full. All of our buildings are full here. I could not renegotiate anything on my lease here. Okay. Now, that type of commercial real estate is very different from the resi-commercial stuff that our normal commercial real estate folks are doing who are realtors. Now, is there a collaboration point there? Oh, hell yes. I'm really interested in seeing what Charlie Oppler does with this commercial show next year. I think there's a lot of opportunity there to really kind of bring in next generation businesses.
Sure.
The thing that was interesting here about talking to these tech guys here, they could not care less about who they're dealing with, but they know what realtors are, which is huge.
Yeah.
If we can attract the JLLs of the world, these massive brokerages to become realtors, then we have another conversation happening. But right now, differentiation, we're under the same brand. We're realtors. What does realtor mean? Realtor means community. Realtor means fighting for private property rights. We should leverage that and make sure that we're on point for that to even hope to attract all these big guns.
Amen to that. Love that. We've got another question. Linda is looking to go out on her own and single small agent. How do you see this playing out? What advice could you give her?
Yeah, well, it's very easy to do that. It's easy on paper to break out. It's very hard to execute on because if you don't get your systems and processes right beforehand and ensure that they can scale, going out on your own is really tough to do because you're literally trying to paint a house while it's going down the highway 50 miles an hour, whatever the hell that adage is, right? So I don't care what you do, but you need to have your systems and processes down before you can even hope to scale. And scaling within a brokerage is just fine. You do it within a brokerage. It's how much risk you want to take on. And I think that's the biggest thing you want to think about. That's what stopped my wife. But I would say one in 10 of my friends have gotten on their own. But it's not about scaling up a real estate team. It's about building a brokerage that means something. And everyone that I've seen, it's not Linda Weinman Real Estate. It's Story Home Realty. It's One Community Realty that Lee Brown started on her own. It's a brand that means something beyond an ego stroke, which to me I think is how you scale.
Yes. Oh, that's great. That's absolutely true. Okay, Juan. How do you see the economy changing in the coming year? Interest rates and such. What do you think that's gonna, as you're looking in that crystal ball? I know you have.
Yeah, rates I'm not too worried about. They have nowhere to go but up. But I think COVID is actually going to keep it down for a while because politicians need us to go out and spend money and to buy big ticket items that require mortgages and loans and stuff like that. So I don't see any of that changing for the next couple of years. I think to me what we need to worry about is policy change because we've got a new administration coming in that it on paper says that they are very friendly to housing, but there is a massive tax hole that needs to be dug out of. And this is where my state local association colleagues will be watching a lot of is, yeah, you're all friendly until you need to refill your coffers. So we'll be watching a lot of that stuff as we go forward. And I think you'll see kind of minutia policy change that we're gonna have to pick our battles. And I think you all know this. It's things like 1031 exchange, which might be canceled for people who make over $400,000 a year, which is key for movement of second homes, which that affects our markets, right? So
yeah,
we'll be watching for that and picking our battles. And I think this coming, I would say the first couple of years as we get to midterm elections is going to be more nuance than there will be anything else.
I think you're exactly right. Well, Nobu, thank you. I can't believe how fast this has gone. This is actually my last webinar that I get to host officially as Idaho Realtor President. So I get to say a few words. I, though, want to invite you to just kind of some closing statements, things that are important to you that we haven't addressed.
Talking to me or anything else?
You, yep, yeah. I'll have you close, and then I'm going to say a few words, and our hour is up, if you can believe it.
I think, to me, I think we have to see the opportunity here. This is a time for really awesome change that we need to be a part of. Jim brings up things like virtual notaries. Yeah, I mean, if we can create an avenue of efficiency for our buyers and sellers, we're going to be okay. Zillow becoming a broker, that's a thing that was destined to happen. Let's get beyond things that have dogged us, and let's start thinking more about what we want the industry to be, and start thinking about how we're going to fill the leadership funnels, leadership pipelines that are out there. That in my mind will help not only us as association wonks, but leadership folks within brokerages as well. We have to see the opportunity here more than get dogged down by the negativity that is kind of filling up the social medias of the world. Your kids aren't on social media anymore anyway, so go out in the real world when you can. It's do the things that we need to do, not what we want to do.
Interesting. I love it. I really do love that we need to just get busy. We need to move forward, and we know how to do that. We are, who we are is problem solvers, and understanding and coming up with ideas to do this business better. And so that's excellent advice. Thank you so much. Nobu, we've loved to have you. I just want to take a moment as we come to the top of the hour, Idaho Realtors, to say thank you. This has been an incredible year. I think it has been a brilliant year, and I know my leadership team feels the same. It has been challenging, no doubt about that. We have faced things that none of us could have predicted in January. But where there is absolute challenge, it is the solutions that we have the opportunity to come up with. We have accomplished, guys, Idaho Realtors, we have accomplished so much, and I want to include the affiliates in that. This has been a landmark year, and we have done it during a pandemic, which I will never forget. 2020 will go down in the books for me personally as one of the best years of my life. We have had to come up with some solutions that we didn't, there's no way we could have foreseen. There has been a new world created for Idaho Realtors, and that is the virtual world. Look at us right now, today, just coming into the holiday season. I don't know, David Hensley, how many Idaho Realtors and affiliates we have on this Zoom meeting, and it is being recorded. But this is something that we didn't do last year. Last year, just a few months ago, we didn't know we could do this. Just kind of tapping back into what Nobu said, as we go forward, guys, there's nobody better in this business than the folks that are on this Zoom meeting today. We have the solutions for challenges. We need to stop sort of looking back, and we need to look forward. And I tell you, with the things that we were able to accomplish, a couple of pieces of key legislation that was passed into law during a pandemic that is going to bless Idaho consumers and realtors going forward. And those pieces of legislation are really a landing point or a launch point to creating more legislation and more laws that are going to affect Idaho consumers for the good. that we now at any time next year that our clients and customers can sign up for the homeowners exemption. That's incredible. And that's something that we did that came from Idaho Realtors, that came from you and me to abolish that timeline that people have to sign up for that they can sign up anytime. Think of the homes that's going to open up for our first-time buyers that get that homeowners exemption. That first-time buyers can now open a tax-free savings account. Idaho Realtors did that. And I don't mean the leadership, guys, and I don't mean the staff, although it was authored by our very own Max Pond and David Hensley, and that it was absolutely, testimony was given at the Capitol from Idaho Realtors. That came from us. That is something that we looked forward and has been working on for years that we knew we needed. So as we've learned today, there are things that we can do, that we have done during one of the most challenging years of Idaho Realtor life, that we have been able to accomplish these things. I want to acknowledge the leadership team down into our leadership committees, that the forms committee came together on a weekend, burned the midnight oil. Jason Risch, our association attorney, that came up with language and new forms to address the COVID-19 situation that we were going through and that we're still going through. We came up with forms for that. We adjusted forms that we have so that our contracts protect Idaho consumers. It's extraordinary. It's amazing. It's so brilliant that we could do these things, that scholarships were awarded, that I was able to meet with some, just adorable, cute, they were young and cute, college students that were able to be blessed by Idaho Realtors with money for them to get into this industry. Thousands and thousands of dollars were given this year to charities. We have done so much good. So I know that these have been challenging. I know that they have these times, but if I can say anything is that I don't look at this year with any sort of regret. I think that what Nobu said is true, what my leadership team has said, what our Idaho Realtor staff has said, that this challenging year allowed us to really dig deep and that we shined, that we were able to accomplish these things during hard times makes it even sweeter because now we know we can do it. So as we're going forward, there is no excuse for us to be weary, for us to be fearful of what's going to happen to our industry because we are problem solvers. It is who we are. We can't stand by and just let things happen. That's not how we're made. And if I can say anything about 2020, it's been that those things that we were able to accomplish, that we have a relationship with the Capitol, that we have a relationship with the governor's office, that we were deemed essential, and that homeownership was deemed essential because he knew that, because our governor knew that he could trust Idaho Realtors, Idaho Realtor family, our affiliates, to conduct ourselves in a way that we would put Idaho consumers first. And I will say, with the influx of people that are finding out about our glorious Idaho, and they're coming, that the kindness that we have been able to show, the professionalism, and that we've been able to do this safely, that we were geared to do that, guys, should really lighten our hearts as we're looking to 2021. There will be the unknowns, absolutely. But I know that the known part of that is that we'll face it. We'll face it together. We'll face it with professionalism, and we will get things done. Nobody can serve the Idaho consumers and homeownership and the promotion thereof like Idaho Realtors and affiliates. And I want you all to know from the bottom of my heart, thank you for allowing me to serve. It has been glorious. I have loved it, every minute of it, even the sleepless nights. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the brokers across the state who wanted to get this right, who have seen their offices expand, who had to change their business models to make sure that their realtors had help and assistance from their home offices, that we went to a virtual world, that we discovered how well that we could do that. It has been amazing to me. I have loved to witness this, and I think 2020 has been one of the best years for Idaho real estate. You won't change my mind about that. I have seen miracles, and I want to thank my leadership team. I want to thank the local leadership teams, the association executives all over the state. I want to thank David Hensley, who's at the head of our Idaho Realtors staff. They are top notch. The things that we accomplished, that I was able to accomplish as president, I could not have done without these people. I want you all to know, though, that at the end of the day, you are the most important. We, as Idaho Realtors and Idaho affiliates, you have made the difference, and it has allowed us, kind of different than some other states, guys, I can attest, but it has allowed Idaho to continue to chug forward, to attract wonderful people who are coming to Idaho because of what Idaho has to offer. I have asked during the year for you to extend kindness and to have our doors open. We can't have our Idaho consumers and our clients bless our families and then turn on them for coming here. The gate is open. Here's what I will say for anybody that's maybe afraid of our future: get involved. I am just a realtor, Marion Wadsworth realtor. I never thought that I would be sitting in this chair. Each of you, if you love this industry, get involved in some way. If it's part of your association, it will definitely be part of your community, because that's what we do. I would ask you to get involved, be kind where you can. Take the high road. It will serve us all well. And with that, David, we're at the top of the hour. I can't believe it's gone so fast. Thank you for everything. We're going to be in wonderful hands with President Cindy Hunter in 2021 with her leadership team. I'll give you just a minute to add, David.
Madam President, I think you said it well. Our heartfelt thanks to you and the entire leadership team for Idaho Realtors. Historically successful year. Could not have been a better year for us as an association and our members. And you were absolutely the right person to lead us during these times. Your grace, your energy, your enthusiasm, I think brightened all of us and our hearts during this adversity we felt. But without you, we could not have accomplished it. So congratulations on a historic year. All of the members owe you a huge debt of gratitude, and we are forever in your debt. So thank you so much, Madam President.
Well, you are too kind. Thank you. Nobu, Hata, thank you again. I know you're busy. Thank you for spending our last Wednesday webinar of the year. We'll see everybody next year. We've got just an amazing year planned as well. All of you be well. Happy holidays. Stay safe. Keep doing what you're doing. I am a huge believer that realtors make this world a better place. And with that, thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Go sell some homes.
Thank you. Thank you, Nobu. Appreciate you.
Problem. Hey, let's chat when you get a second after the holidays.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks.